So another major development in a long-running saga from India's part to extradite fugitive businessman Mehul Choksi back to India. Of course, Mehul Choksi, most famously known for his involvement in the Punjab National Bank scam, which cost the bank around 14,000 crores. Of course, Mehul Choksi is best known for running a major diamond firm in India, a jewelry business that made him really an extremely wealthy man. But of course, in 2018, all of that came undone. His business empire unraveled as it turned out that a 14,000 crore scam had been conducted with his involvement to defraud the bank, to acquire letters of undertaking and loans with the collusion of people within the bank in ways that were contrary to regulations and without proper collateral. Following that, Mehul Choksi fled abroad. He fled to Antigua and then Dominica, then onwards to Europe. And now the big development that I was mentioning is that Mehul Choksi has been arrested by Belgian authorities. He was in Belgium, in Antwerp more specifically. He's been arrested by Belgian authorities on the request of Indian authorities for 2 arrest warrants that were issued in India a couple of years ago. In Mumbai specifically, these arrest warrants have now been used by the Belgian police to arrest Mehul Choksi, and now, of course, a process will begin, paving the way perhaps for the extradition of Mehul Choksi to India. Now, that is an absolutely major concern that India is going to be working on Belgium with, but we thought we'd just sit down with you, explain what the major story is and what is expected to happen really in the coming weeks and months. So very, very simply, again, to recap, Mehul Choksi, of course, the Diamantaire, the man who ran, of course, Gitanjali, which was a very, very large, very successful jewelry business. Of course, he fled the country in 2018 after it became apparent that his company and, of course, associates of his, including Nirav Modi, his nephew, again in the diamond business, after these 2 gentlemen, along with a number of officials in Punjab National Bank, were actually identified by Indian investigative authorities for indulging in a massive scam. The idea, of course, was that letters of undertaking and foreign letters of credit to provide funds and loans to Mehul Choksi's companies were given by the Punjab National Bank, but they were given fraudulently because proper collateral was not provided to secure these loans. The scam was carried out with the support of certain officials within the Punjab National Bank who were compensated for their role. Of course, this news became public in 2018, and right before the case, official case was filed, Mehul Choksi fled the country. He headed off to Antigua, which is, of course, in the Caribbean, of course, a haven for a lot of people who have indulged in financial crimes. Then the saga gets quite strange from there. From Antigua, he fled to Dominica. He was arrested by the by the authorities in Dominica. There was a sense that he could be extradited. India sent a team to get him extradited back to India to face justice, but his legal team came up with this extraordinary explanation that in fact he had been honey trapped. He had been lured to Dominica. He had been kidnapped and then brought to Dominica against his will. There were legal processes under which then in Dominica the extradition process was held up, and therefore he could not in fact be extradited, to the disappointment of the Indian investigative authorities. He then returned to Antigua, and after that, just a couple of years ago, he went off to Europe, to Belgium. More specifically, he also is currently, according to some reports, receiving medical treatment for blood cancer. That's the affliction that he is suffering from at this point in time. He's also repeatedly used that in legal proceedings to sort of inform authorities that he should not be extradited because he is suffering from from a life-threatening illness, and therefore cannot return to India. So that's what he told a Mumbai court about exactly this, that he cannot stand trial because he is suffering from blood cancer. So that is what is happening at this point in time in the case. What happens now moving forward is that he has been arrested by Belgian authorities on the request of Indian authorities. Belgium has also formally requested that India file an application for extradition of bringing him back, and now there is a judicial process that is going to begin to hear Choksi's case to understand what is going to happen moving forward. This is extremely key because this can be a very long, drawn out, very difficult process that needs to be adjudicated. India, of course, there also has to be a political and diplomatic push here. Remember that India is a country that has had a strong relationship with Belgium. Just last month, we had Princess Astrid of Belgium come to India, lead a very powerful business delegation. The deputy prime minister was there, who is also the foreign minister. The defense minister was also in town. And of course, this is a relationship that has served them well because they also got to meet with Prime Minister Modi, External Affairs Minister S. Jaishankar, Defense Minister Rajnath Singh. So the relationship is coming off a high over the last month or two, and so the sense is that India can push its advantage at this point in time. The CBI, the Enforcement Directorate, can push Belgian authorities with the support of India's foreign ministry to extradite Mehul Choksi. At this point in time, it is looking like, of course, a difficult legal fight. It is not going to be exactly a very simple process. Of course, as we know, this has been a 7-year process, really since 2018 when Mehul Choksi fled to Antigua. This has been a situation that has been going on for quite some time at this point in time. So the legal process is there. It may, of course, cause problems. Remember, in Dominica, he said that he had been abducted and had left Antigua not voluntarily. In Antigua, he again used citizenship status to delay proceedings there. India rejected the fact that he had become a Dominican citizen. There was some question about whether he had in fact surrendered his passport and whether that had been accepted by the Indian authorities, but he was still an Indian citizen. Of course, in Belgium now, there is going to be a prolonged legal fight to see whether, in fact, Mehul Choksi can be extradited. But of course, the Indian authorities are going to work extremely closely with Belgian authorities. The Indian diplomatic community is going to work extremely strongly with the Belgians to make very clear how important this case is for India. We've already seen major statements coming in from government representatives in India talking about how this is the government of the day, the government in India pushing hard for justice, pushing hard for the people who were hurt by the scam to finally find some justice, have Mehul Choksi return, face justice in India. That is what the government of India is saying. So again, politically, diplomatically, and from the enforcement agency perspective, there is a huge push to get Mehul Choksi back at this point in time. But now we are moving into a legal process that will also have to be complemented by a back-channel diplomatic process to get the political support and the legal support to get Mehul Choksi extradited to India. That's what we have for you at this point in time. But we will keep you absolutely updated on the story. We will get ourselves some of the best legal editors that we have, people who cover legal matters as well, into the studio. We'll have a chat with them, understand how the Mehul Choksi process is going to unfold moving forward. Thank you again so much for joining us here on India Today Global.